David Pakur wasn't your average teenager. Quiet and introspective, he spent hours in his room, eyes glued to the screen, not of a game, but lines of code scrolling at impossible speeds. David wasn't just playing games, he was dissecting them, understanding their very essence. The digital world was his playground, and his Xbox, his weapon of choice. Online, he shed his shyness, transforming into Xenon, a handle whispered in online forums with a mixture of awe and fear. Xenon was different. David possessed an uncanny ability to find vulnerabilities, to see the flaws in systems others deemed impenetrable. He started small, tweaking his Xbox, pushing its limits beyond what the manufacturers intended. He joined online communities, spaces where tech wizards and code breakers congregated, sharing knowledge, and pushing the boundaries of what was possible. David, as Xenon, quickly rose through the ranks, his skills undeniable, his exploits legendary. His name became synonymous with the burgeoning world of Xbox modding. The Xbox modding community was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it was a place of learning, of shared passion, where enthusiasts collaborated to enhance their gaming experiences. On the other, it was a breeding ground for piracy, a marketplace for stolen games and illegal modifications. David, initially drawn to the technical challenge, found himself walking a tightrope. He modified consoles, unlocking their full potential, sometimes legitimately, sometimes not. The thrill of bypassing security protocols, of outsmarting billion-dollar corporations, was intoxicating. His skills didn't go unnoticed. Older, more experienced hackers, individuals who operated in the shadows of the internet, extended invitations. They recognized David's talent, his potential, and they wanted him on their side. David, young and impressionable, found himself drawn into their world, a world that promised excitement, camaraderie, and an escape from the mundane. He was now on a path that would forever alter his life's trajectory. David's world came crashing down at the Canadian border. He was returning from a trip, a sense of unease gnawing at him. He had been moving modified consoles, pushing his luck, and he knew it. The border agent, a seasoned officer, sensed something amiss. He scrutinized David's passport, his eyes lingering a little too long. The officer began asking questions, his tone casual, but his demeanor alert. David's heart pounded in his chest, his palms slick with sweat. The officer asked about the electronics in his bag. David stammered, his voice betraying his nervousness. His hesitation was all the confirmation the officer needed. He was escorted to a secondary inspection, his belongings thoroughly searched. The modified consoles, with their telltale alterations, were discovered. Panic surged through David as he was apprehended, his world collapsing around him. This wasn't a game anymore. This was real life, and the consequences were about to become all too real. Section 4. The Xbox Underground, a web of hackers. The interrogation room was cold and sterile. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting harsh shadows on the faces of the two agents seated across from David. They knew who he was, Xenon. They questioned him about his online activities and his association with other hackers. David, scared and alone, tried to cooperate, revealing bits and pieces. The agents knew more than they were letting on. They spoke of the Xbox Underground, a network of hackers exploiting Microsoft's gaming ecosystem. They were responsible for stealing code, leaking information, and causing millions in damages. David had heard whispers of this group, but kept his distance. The agents revealed evidence linking Xenon to the group's activities. David's world was crumbling around him. Section 5. Exploits, Hacks, and Digital Mayhem. The Xbox Underground wasn't about money, at least not entirely. It was about the challenge, the thrill of the exploit, the satisfaction of outsmarting a corporate giant. They were digital Robin Hoods. They justified their actions, exposing security flaws, forcing Microsoft to improve its systems. Their targets went beyond Microsoft. They infiltrated game developers, stealing unreleased games, source code, and sensitive financial information. They leaked this information online, causing chaos and disruption. The group's actions, however, were a double-edged sword. Their exploits, while exposing vulnerabilities, also provided tools and knowledge to less scrupulous individuals. Stolen game code ended up on piracy websites, costing companies millions. Leaked financial data put individuals at risk of identity theft. The Xbox Underground, in their quest for digital justice, had inadvertently opened a Pandora's box. Their actions, once dismissed as youthful pranks, were now attracting serious attention, and the authorities were closing in. Section 6. The FBI takes notice. Operation Pacifier. The FBI had been monitoring the Xbox Underground for months. Operation Pacifier involved multiple agencies tracking the group's every move. They infiltrated chat rooms, monitored communications, and traced online activities. The group operated in the shadows, using encrypted channels and sophisticated techniques. David's arrest provided a crucial break in the case. His computer contained chat logs, code fragments, and evidence linking him to the group. David became an unwitting asset, unlocking the secrets of the Xbox Underground. The FBI began to dismantle the group, one member at a time. Arrests were made globally, young men pulled from their homes. The Xbox Underground, once formidable, was crumbling. Section 7. The Price of Curiosity, Consequences, and Reflections. David's arrest sent shockwaves through the online community. Xenon, the once revered hacker, became a cautionary tale. The consequences of his actions were far-reaching, impacting not just himself but his family, who were left reeling from the arrest, struggling to comprehend the charges leveled against their son. David faced multiple felony charges, his future hanging precariously in the balance. The case of the Xbox Underground served as a stark reminder of the evolving landscape of cybercrime. No longer confined to dark corners of the internet, it now involved teenagers operating from their bedrooms, capable of causing significant damage. It raised questions about the allure of hacking, the fine line between curiosity and criminal intent, and the responsibility that comes with knowledge. For David, the journey from curious teenager to accused cybercriminal was a harsh lesson learned. The digital world.
David loved computers. From a young age, lines of code fascinated him. He saw them as puzzles he could solve. The Xbox, with its sleek design and complex architecture, became his obsession. He dove into its software, determined to unlock its secrets. Late nights turned into early mornings. David wasn't just playing games, he was dissecting them, mastering the machine. His skills grew. He learned to manipulate code, to bend the Xbox to his will. The thrill wasn't just in the achievement, it was in the power, the feeling of control in a digital world. David found others online, kindred spirits who shared his passion. They traded tips, challenged each other, pushed the limits of what was possible. A community began to form, a loose collective of young hackers united by their love of the Xbox and their disdain for rules. They called themselves the Xbox Underground, a name whispered in online forums and chat rooms. They were a force to be reckoned with, but their ambitions were about to escalate. The group started small, pulling off minor hacks, proving themselves in the vast digital playground. But David had bigger plans. He envisioned a future where the Xbox Underground wouldn't just be a nuisance, they would be legends. The Xbox Underground wasn't just a group, it was a brotherhood. Bound by trust and their shared passion, they operated with a strict code of conduct. Their targets were carefully selected large corporations, faceless entities they saw as exploiting gamers. Microsoft, the creator of Xbox, was their ultimate prize. Their early operations were small-scale, stealing virtual items, disrupting online gaming experiences, leaving their mark on the digital landscape. But as their confidence grew, so did their audacity. They developed custom tools, sophisticated programs that allowed them to delve deeper into corporate networks. Dylan, a coding prodigy, joined the group. His knowledge of network security was invaluable. Sanad, a master of social engineering, could talk his way past any firewall. Nathan, the strategist, planned their moves with meticulous care. And then there was Justin, the wild card, a brilliant but reckless hacker who lived for the adrenaline rush. Together they formed a formidable team. Their exploits became bolder, their targets more ambitious. The Xbox Underground was no longer just a group of kids messing around. They were a force to be reckoned with, a thorn in the side of the gaming industry, and they were just getting started. Word of the Xbox Underground spread through the online underworld. Their exploits became the stuff of legend. They saw themselves as digital Robin Hoods. Their first major target was a prominent game publisher. The Underground infiltrated their servers, stealing unreleased game code. The stolen data was leaked online, sending shockwaves through the industry. The FBI launched an investigation. They set their sights on Microsoft, aiming to steal the Xbox source code. Exploiting vulnerabilities, they bypassed firewalls to gain access. One wrong move and they could be caught, but the allure of their prize was too strong to resist. The heist was a success. The Xbox Underground had done the unthinkable. They possessed the source code for the Xbox operating system. Their victory sent shockwaves through the gaming world and beyond. The media dubbed them digital outlaws, cyber Robin Hoods, and dangerous criminals. The FBI, their pride wounded, escalated their investigation, pouring resources into hunting down the perpetrators. Inside the underground, tensions ran high. The thrill of victory was intoxicating, but the threat of capture loomed large. They knew they were playing a dangerous game, and the stakes had never been higher. Paranoia set in. Was someone watching them? Had they made a mistake? They continued their activities, leaking stolen information, disrupting online services, and taunting authorities with their online bravado. They reveled in their notoriety, their names whispered in both fear and admiration, but their recklessness was catching up to them. The FBI, working with cybersecurity experts, were closing in. The net was tightening. Section 5. The walls close in. The first sign of trouble came in the form of an unexpected visitor. FBI agents, armed with a search warrant, raided Dylan's house. They seized computers, hard drives, and gaming consoles, leaving a trail of chaos in their wake. Dylan, caught off guard, was taken into custody. The raid sent shockwaves through the Xbox Underground. They knew it was only a matter of time before the FBI came knocking on their doors. Panic set in. The group convened online, their faces illuminated by the cold glow of their computer screens. They needed a plan, a way to cover their tracks before it was too late. But fear and suspicion had sown seeds of discord among them. Trust, once unbreakable, began to crumble. David, the de facto leader, urged calm. He reminded them of their bond, their shared purpose, but the group was fractured. Some, like Sanad, argued for laying low, disappearing into the digital ether. Others, like Justin, fueled by adrenaline and a sense of invincibility, wanted to fight back, to strike a blow against the FBI. The group was at a crossroads. Their future, once bright with the promise of digital conquest, was now shrouded in uncertainty and fear. Section 6. Downfall. David. The FBI, armed with evidence seized from Dylan's raid, were building their case. They analyzed the data, tracing digital footprints, piecing together the puzzle of the Xbox Underground. David, identified as the ringleader, became their primary target. He knew they were coming. He could feel the walls closing in, the invisible hand of the law reaching for him. He tried to disappear, to erase his online presence, but it was too late. The FBI had him in their sights. One evening, as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across his bedroom floor, they arrived. The knock on the door sent a chill down his spine. He knew his time had run out. David was arrested and charged with multiple felonies, including computer fraud, conspiracy, and theft of intellectual property. He faced decades in prison. His world, once filled with the endless possibilities of cyberspace, had shrunk to the cold, harsh reality of a jail cell. Section 7. Downfall. The crew. With their leader apprehended, the remaining members of the Xbox Underground scattered. Sanad, ever resourceful, went off the grid, disappearing into the anonymity of the internet. Nathan, consumed by guilt and fear, turned himself into the authorities, hoping for leniency. Justin, defiant to the end, vowed to continue the fight, his anger at the establishment burning brighter than ever. Dylan, facing overwhelming evidence, struck a deal with the prosecution. He agreed to cooperate, providing information about the group's activities in exchange for a reduced sentence. His testimony was instrumental in securing convictions against the other members. One by one, they were apprehended. Their reign as digital outlaws had come to an end. The Xbox Underground, once a symbol of rebellion and digital freedom, was no more. Their downfall served as a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the consequences of cybercrime in an increasingly interconnected world. Section 8. The price of rebellion. The members of the Xbox Underground faced the full weight of the law. David, deemed the mastermind, received the harshest sentence, 10 years in federal prison. The others, their sentences varying depending on their level of involvement and cooperation, found themselves facing years of incarceration, hefty fines, and the stigma of being convicted felons. Their lives, once full of promise and potential, were forever altered. The digital playground that had once been their domain was now a source of both fascination and fear. They had learned the hard way that actions have consequences, even in the seemingly intangible realm of cyberspace. The Xbox Underground's story became a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the allure and danger of cybercrime. Their exploits, once celebrated in hushed tones within the gaming community, were now dissected in classrooms and courtrooms, a lesson in the importance of cybersecurity and the ethical use of technology. Section 9. Echoes of the Underground. Years later, the legacy of the Xbox Underground lived on. Their story became the stuff of legend, a cautionary tale whispered among hackers and cybersecurity professionals alike. Some saw them as digital Robin Hoods, fighting against corporate greed and the constraints of the digital world. Others saw them as reckless criminals, whose actions had real-world consequences. The Xbox Underground's downfall served as a wake-up call for the gaming industry, highlighting the vulnerabilities of online platforms and the need for robust cybersecurity measures. It also sparked a debate about the ethics of hacking, the fine line between curiosity and criminality, and the responsibility that comes with wielding technological power. The group's exploits, once shrouded in secrecy and anonymity, were now part of the public record, a reminder that in the digital age, even the most skilled hackers are not beyond the reach of the law. The echoes of the Xbox Underground's rebellion continued to reverberate, a cautionary tale for a new generation navigating the ever-evolving landscape of cyberspace.